Oh, Emma.
Please welcome back Emma Willmann.
Oh, Emma.
You're Emma. Oh, okay, Emma.
Here we go. Let's get crazy.
Oh, Emma.
Today's guest is comedian, podcaster, and, might I add, my favorite intro for him that I found online. This is a quote. I did not come up with it. From queert.com. Well, they said, handsome English teacher trolls his class in the gayest way possible. So handsome English teacher who does trolling in a gay way, apparently, Mr. D. Joe Dombrowski. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so hilarious that you found that, because that quote, like,
It pops right up.
Well, it almost got me in trouble, sort of.
I could see that, because saying, well, I don't know what was necessarily gay about the way you were trolling.
So my principal actually brought it. So it was on Queerty, and it was also on a website called like Gay Star Booty, which what the hell? And it was handsome gay teacher, and he came. I've always, even when I was in the classroom, I was super like unapologetic about my gay, and he brought the article to me, and he was like, "So what do you think about this?" And I was like, "I think London thinks I'm handsome." Because it's a British article. Right. So I was like, what the fuck do you think about it, ass? Try me.
It's probably because if it's on a gay booty or whatever, it's handsome gay teacher then makes it sound pornographic if it's on handsome gay booty or whatever it is. So that's their fault.
I know. Thank God he didn't go to my OnlyFans after that.
Yeah, right. Thank God he didn't find the other. Thank God he didn't find the other things. Oh,
totally. Man. Jesus. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I've got a sweatshirt on backwards right now because I didn't like the front of it. Look. It's my girlfriend. I've run out of clothes to wear, so I found a sweatshirt of hers, but it has like a sassy saying on the front, and I don't think I can pull it off, so I just turned it backwards. It says, "Text me, bitch," or something like that.
It definitely says, "Tag me."
Oh, really? Well, I can't. I need to take one of your classes, Joe. I can't read. Oh, tag me. All I saw was that it was sassy, and I was like, no. So I have other than me having a backwards sweatshirt on, I'm pretty good.
I'm jealous. Morgan and I can only share very specific clothes, and it all depends on how much they stretch, because he's a little bit smaller than I.
How long have you guys been together?
We're going on 5 years.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's a treat.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So he's been with you like a good part of your journey with juggling all of these things.
Yeah. So he actually, he saw me like do the whole struggle, like before you get your first big break.
Sure. So
I was still teaching full time and doing comedy full time.
In Seattle?
No, in Detroit. I'm from Detroit.
Okay, cool. Because I know that it said you were teaching in Royal Oaks, Michigan, and then you moved to Seattle at some point. But you started out in Detroit.
So I went Seattle, Chicago, Detroit, which was pretty wild. Because Chicago was like the closest like comedy city too. So I was like, I always had aspirations of like trying comedy out there. So then the funny thing is about our relationship is he got this opportunity to come to Seattle, and I was like, yo, that means I'm never going to experience Chicago. And we sort of did like a little breakup. We were like, we have to break up. And I was
go
like,
do our own thing.
I have to follow my heart, my dream. And we did it for a year. And then we realized we're like, so we're still flying across the country to see each other every weekend. Or did we actually break up? We're like, right. I don't know if we can consider this a breakup. So yeah, it just worked out. And then after a year in Chicago, I got my fix. And it was fantastic. And now we're together in Seattle.
That's awesome. If you can make it through a long distance thing like that, and then that's like real. Because I think long distance can work, but not usually only if you have an end in sight, and also usually if you've started out living together. Because if you start out long distance, you don't know what that motherfucker's like.
Yes.
You don't know. You're like, you picture the best case scenario, but you don't actually have any idea.
And by the time that I came to Seattle, we had already been we were 3 years in.
Woo! That's a long ass time.
Dude, I know.
That's good for you. I wanted to paint the picture of you in my brain the best that I could. What were you like as a little child?
Fucking crazy, dude. Crazy.
Like ADHD?
Oh, up the ass.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I had so much ADHD. I mean, I still do.
Me too.
That's why we vibe.
I know. It's fucking, I love people with ADHD. Because to me, it doesn't seem like you have ADHD. I'm like, oh, I am. Exactly. But that's probably because I have ADHD.
Exactly. And the other thing too is that like the best quote that somebody ever said to me, they were like, I wish I could just like be in your brain for a day. And I was like, yeah, bro, it's fucking awesome. I love it. I do. I think honestly, like my ADHD is kind of like what keeps me going in comedy
Yeah.
and keeps, because that's like my style. Like when I'm on the stage, bitch, I work the fucking stage.
Do you
And
take pills for it?
so I did for a while. And I was like not a good student academically for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't read until like third grade.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that had to do with the ADHD.
It did it. Well, it kind of did, but
Because you have to concentrate to learn to read. Because I couldn't read for a long time too, which is tough. Because then you're like, it's embarrassing.
I went to private Catholic school up until kindergarten to first grade, and I was like, literally, I remember I would like take my scarf and I would just be like, I'm here to learn, blah blah blah, and they're like, yeah, you're a little gay boy for sure. So they paid me no mind. Emma,
Right.
listen, like, literally one time I was so extroverted that my desk was not moved away from the other kids. It was moved into the coat closet. And that's where I did my like could only see the teacher. And
Are
I was
they
just like,
allowed to do that? Like, wouldn't they get in trouble for doing that now? If you're literally like, they literally put you in the closet.
in it, like back in it. They're like, you're not coming out, you little piece
Yeah.
of shit. Yeah, no.
Lock.
Right, lock, close. So so they didn't really invest in me, but
Right.
they always gave my parents positive reports because it was private Catholic school.
Sure.
They were paying tuition. They still needed tuition. So then I went to this brand new school. By fate, was built in our backyard, literally in our backyard.
Would you tell your parents? Were you like, hey, they're putting me in the closet?
I don't fully remember. I think yes, but I think my whole entire life I grew up in that family of the teachers, right? And you're a fucking asshole, right? Yeah, so it was that. But when I went to this new school and they were like they didn't say it, but they definitely like embraced the gay. Like I had a little bit of extra glitter on my table to use,
Pep in your step.
But my teacher, within like 2 or 3 months of being at this brand new school, like called my mom in for a private meeting. It was like, dude, your kid can't read like at all. And she's like, what do you mean? And I remember my teacher's like, watch this, and put a book in front of me and was like, read it. And I was like, and just couldn't. And yes, I couldn't read. And that kind of trailed throughout school, and my parents like definitely didn't want to medicate. And then I was in 7th grade, and one of my teachers like did the dance like, I'm not saying, but I'm also not saying.
Right. And, have you considered what would happen when you'd have to read? Because like when you have to read in a circle, would they do that in the class? It was like, I do a sentence, you do a sentence. Would you kind of make up what you thought it said?
No, I just wanted to die.
Yeah.
I just like felt in that moment like I wanted to die. And then I would do shit you do. I feel like you're gonna connect with this so hard. I would do shit to be the funny kid to take the attention off.
Totally.
So I remember like one time I was butchering the fucking words, and I knew the word was Virginia, but I said out loud virgin because I knew everybody would laugh, and then we would focus on me being funny rather than me not being able to read. And then I was just like, what is that?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Especially for spelling bees, I would just fuck around so hard that I would have to go to the office, but it was like anything to avoid having to stand up. And they're like, how do you spell goat? And to not know. And when it's like the easy round where it's like, this is round 1, that is that's the worst. But so your mom gets you to the thing and she says, you can't read. And then they do that in front of you.
Well, they said that I couldn't read, and then my mom was like, holy shit, like that kid's been living a lie up until being 8 years old, basically. And then they tried to get it, and then in 7th grade, they made the decision to like medicate me a little bit. And like I have such like conflicting thoughts about it because like
medication's tricky. It's tricky.
I'm very pro, because in my personal experience, if I wasn't medicated at that time, I never would have been able to teach my brain how to learn. So I was so medicated that I was able to focus and like learn how to study and learn how to read and learn how to be organized. And had I not been medicated at that time, I don't think that I would have had those skills that I can now do unmedicated. But the payoff for that was totally personality, which is why I love myself and like what I think. I'm sorry, like you gotta like hype yourself up sometimes, right?
Totally.
But so like that's what makes me me. Those are the parts that I love about myself the most, like my antics, my fucking nutso-ness, and it was gone. So it was kind of sad, but
Would you
like
just have
at what
like
a
low energy? Were they like, hey Joe, and you'd be like
yeah,
zombie-ish?
zombie style.
Really?
100, yeah, totally,
Was it
totally.
Adderall?
So I think
Never heard of it.
Dextro, it was like intense shit.
That's interesting because my Adderall, I remember my Adderall, I would like make me focus, but I'd be like, so I had to stop taking that because it would be, it didn't like flatline like no, it did kind of flatline my personality because all of a sudden I'd be like just so fucking focused that like I wouldn't want you to talk to me. Like I'd be like, I gotta do this right now. I'm concentrating so hard.
Did you hate it though? Like, did you hate that you could feel you're not yourself?
I grew to because I remember not being able to disengage. And then I stopped taking Adderall when I did a show at a college and I couldn't disengage from how like it was like a small show and the kids were really chill and I couldn't. So I was probably like 24 at this point. I couldn't disengage from because I took my Adderall late in the day. And if you take it late in the day and then you have a beer or something, it's not good.
It's not
So I
cute,
stopped
yeah.
later, but now I take Vyvanse. But I never heard of that one that they had you on.
God damn, I can't do it. I can't do the Vyvanse.
Have you tried it?
Yes, holy shit.
Is it bad?
No, okay, it's not bad, but I'm pretty sure Vyvanse in some other language translates to cocaine.
Fuck!
Yeah.
My doctor told me it was okay to take because she said it wasn't habit forming.
Oh,
I took
girl.
it and I said, I don't know about that.
I don't know if it's habit forming as much as it's the way that it makes me feel. Like when I'm on it, I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, very that sweaty. I don't really sweat. When I was on that shit, fuck, I was sweating like a wildebeest in heat.
So then you just went off of it?
I was just like, I'm not going to fuck around with this. I honest to
for
God,
you.
I stopped. I haven't taken medication probably 8 to 10 years.
Good for you. Was there something where you're like, that's it, this is the final straw, I'm not doing this anymore?
Yeah, my shows sucked. I couldn't
Interesting.
I couldn't perform. And I also was sort of like losing a desire to perform. And then I stopped taking it. I did 5 years of undergrad, and then
So it was almost making you depressed. You mean they couldn't perform like as a performer or couldn't perform in
Yeah.
school?
As a performer.
So it was almost making you depressed maybe then.
Yeah, I couldn't write. I couldn't really get my jokes out the way I wanted it to. A lot of my style of comedy is like, yeah, the words are funny and what I wrote is funny, hopefully, but like how I present it and those little, it's all about, you got to have all of it.
Oh, amen. Oh, I'm like, look, if I'm not bopping around, then
The man one. Yeah.
if I'm not stomping around when I'm saying that, I was like, my writing's like, I was like, but I gotta put on a show here. So this is just what needs to happen. If I'm not, have you gone on, because if I go on stage, like, and I'm really down or something, then I have to seriously like, be like, no, get it together to also perform. Because if I don't perform it, it doesn't like work out.
Oh, 100%. And I even like when I was doing the courtship dance with my managers, they were like, do you have like a transcript of your hour? And I was like, yeah, but like take it with a grain of salt. And they were like, okay. And then I was like, come see it. Come see it. And then they saw it and they're like, oh, we fucking get it. Like, I get you. I get it. I understand these things have to be together.
If you watch, I was reading like a transcript of a Brian Regan thing, and you have to see it. Otherwise it doesn't, you're like, it's just someone talking, he was talking about a refrigerator or something, but then if you see it, you got to be like, no, you got to come down, you got to see the thing.
Yeah.
So you went off the medicine. What were you like when you were in high school? Did you go to a public high school, private high school?
Yeah, I went to public high school. And so starting my later years in high school, so my junior and senior year, I started dabbling with taking medication and not taking medication. So like
Gotcha.
test days, ACTs, SATs, the whole month of that, like all that shit.
Prescribed or not prescribed?
Prescribed, for sure.
Yeah. So were you like a good kid? Like not, were you just smoking pot?
So I was a good kid to everyone.
That's exhausting.
Never got in trouble with the teachers and all of that shit. Like everybody was just like, yes. But I was also I was always the brains, never the brawn, because I was just like, let's scheme up this shit. Like one of our teachers allowed us to paint the classroom and she's like, just pick any color. And I was like, you guys, you know what? I got a car. I'll go get the paint. No big deal. Bright neon green. Like I was just like, yeah.
Joe.
Right.
You're the class clown then.
And a lot of that too was like deflecting my academic like not excellence, and also deflecting from my really gayness, because you know how it is, like if I'm funny you can't hate me.
Right.
So
Totally.
that,
Were
yeah, and I
you
was
did you ever have girlfriends?
I did in middle school, but I actually came out when I was 14.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is brave.
In the early 2000s too. So like, yes, it is.
That's incredible. How'd you do it?
So I was scheduled to make my confirmation, which is like the Catholic, you're an adult. And I was going to catechism at the time, and I straight up asked.
What's catechism?
Catechism is like when you go to public school, you're not in Catholic school anymore, and you still need to get like the church part of school. So
it sounds like kind of violent or something.
Oh, it's like it's Sunday
like
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like what's the thing where you go and put your head in the thing and they chop off your head?
Guillotine?
Okay, I guess it doesn't sound like that. All right, never mind. Okay, so you're still in the
Put your head in your catechism.
That's what it sounds like in my brain. Catechism.
So I went to catechism, and I asked my catechism teacher, I was just like, yo, are we like good to be gay in this setting? And she was just straight up like, no. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? Right. So I'm about to make my confirmation, which is like you're becoming adult in the Catholic Church.
Was she compassionate at all? Was she like, technically no, but I'm okay with it, but
I don't want to say compassionate, but very visibly uncomfortable.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's like no secret. Like the gay kid is now asking you if he's going to hell. Like, what do you do?
Ooh.
I put her on the spot with reason.
Right.
So the day comes to make my confirmation, and much like AA, you need a sponsor. You need like all this stuff. Like it's a whole long process to get there. And I get to the day, and my parents are like, go get ready. And I go in my room and I don't get ready. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And I came out and I was just like, I'm not doing this. And they're like, why? And I'm like, the church doesn't believe in who I am, and I cannot go along with the games of being in a place of people who don't believe who I am. Do you understand? And they were just like, we'll talk about this another time. And then it was like a couple years of silence, and then it started to come up again.
Push you to get it? They weren't like, you gotta suck it up and go get this?
Honest to God, Emma, no.
Thank God. Thank God.
Still to this day, I'm like, holy shit, I look like a ratchet mess. They were like,
you look awesome. I love it.
I don't give a fuck anymore. Look at this shirt.
Okay. Oh yeah. Is that wolf? That's right. Fucking.
This is some like truck stop bullshit that
Hell
I have
yeah.
lying around.
Hell yeah. And what's on your head?
Oh, this is twofold. I don't know. When I was on tour in Australia, I bought this because there were bats everywhere, and they would shit.
The bat protector.
So that's what I bought it for. But now it's my Corona mask.
Perfect.
Right? I know.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
That's my shit.
So your parents didn't push you back in, but they weren't like, okay, come out to everybody. Did you have siblings that were straight?
I'm an only child. Right.
I don't know much about Catholic people.
It's all good.
I don't know it. I don't know much about them. Like I mean, I'm trying to think. I didn't know because there was like an Episcopalian church in my town. But then what I would see about Catholic people was what I would see in the news, which isn't like the best representation of them per se. And then I saw this documentary, The Keepers. Did you see that?
Yes.
So I haven't gotten a chance to see but I'm sure there's so many wonderful things about it too.
I'm sure too.
They're the ones that do the cross when they touch their heads.
The side of the cross. Yeah, the side of the cross.
Yeah.
And basically everything Mateo has told you about Catholicism in your podcast is true, because I'm also a Italian Catholic and a Polish Catholic, like 50-50. And those are both very extreme Catholics. I listen to Inside the Closet sometimes and crack up, because when Mateo describes his family, I'm like, oh yeah, we have a fridge in our basement too. Hello, doesn't everyone have a kitchen down there?
I had never heard of such a thing until he started talking about it, or Sebastian Maniscalco was talking about having his grandmother in the basement. I didn't think he meant that literally. And then someone who was Italian said, no, the grandma is in the basement. Why? That seems like very abusive to me.
The best part is like listening to your discovery of all this.
Yeah,
So
because I didn't know. I didn't know why in the basement though. Can't you just be upstairs with the people?
the truest. No,
She's got
she's
to
got
stay
cooking
down
to do.
there.
She's got some shit to go.
Jesus
go do.
God.
Yeah.
So
So
when you
it's fine.
came out, when did you start like having like little boyfriends and stuff?
I was like the only gay person at my school.
I mean, 14 is fucking young. That's so brave. That's
very, very.
really brave because I don't know if I would have been able to. I mean, I didn't do that. I was at like at a real cushy, like it was like an all women's college thing. So coming out 14 is like in high school is hard enough, as and being like it's like that's tough. So that was very brave of you to do.
It was, thank you. I really appreciate hearing that. In retrospect, I do realize that is true. It was hard in the moment, but again, I just kind of like relied on humor to not get hurt, like physically and emotionally. And there wasn't like nobody else was. Of course, at least like 10 guys from my graduating class have now come out, and I'm just like,
Right.
okay, cool, assholes. You let me take everything,
You
and
took the L.
meanwhile, right, for sure.
Would
But
any
I
of them
never
hit on you when you came out? Would any of them
This
like
is the ones who hit on me and the ones who I may have had relationships with.
right
Not relationships,
relations? Yes.
are now married to women.
Really?
And the ones who wanted nothing to do with me were the ones who are out now and I've talked to a few of them. This is kind of cute. One guy said he apologized because he's like, I always like wanted to be your friend and stuff. He's like, but I couldn't because I knew it would then question me. And I was like, you know what? We all got our own shit. I get it. And another guy who came out said sort of the same thing. And I like bawled my eyes out in the middle of the bar when he told me this because he was like, I looked at you as somebody who I like couldn't be, and I would watch you and everything you would do. And like when I finally was able to came out, you came to mind, and I just how brave and how strong and and I was like, I never viewed myself as that. I never viewed my coming out to be some like beacon of hope for kids who were there and not out yet. That was never on my mind. It was all my own like safety protection, my thing. And now looking back at that, I'm like, wow, that's wild. But dude,
because you came out and also you were okay too. So it's not like you came out and then you fucking combusted. They were able to see that you came out and lived lived another day.
Yep. And like people generally liked me. I was in like multiple circles of friends.
That's great.
Yeah, like even like straight guys were like horrible to me, but then I still had other circles of straight guys who were totally like friends, hang out all the time, and those types of relationships people would see and be like, oh yeah, he's just like normal. Because at this time too, we have things like Queer as Folk, which is fantastic, but it's just like writing that narrative of like, you're gay, you have so much trauma, you're gonna like die, get AIDS, and go to the club and take G and pass out and never talk to your friends again. Like, you know what I mean? But they were looking at me and they're like, all right, he seems like he's got it together.
Right. He hasn't started doing any of that stuff yet.
He didn't go to college yet.
Right. He hasn't like left. Did you have any gay friends like online or anything?
Oh, hell yeah. I was like Mr. AOL chat room. Yeah.
I fucking loved AOL. It was like a lifeline.
It really was. I did have a couple friends on there. Some now I realized were either people who knew me and were trolling me, but trolling wasn't a word.
Ooh.
Or catfishing rather.
Yep.
And there's one guy who I chatted with online for quite some time who now when I play the situations back in my head, I realized he was like probably a 60-year-old man in bumblefuck nowhere's town trying
right.
Yeah. It was kind of weird, but I was in this shit a lot.
That's great that you were able to like have like a social life too and not feel like you're like, because that's being able to have friends in high school is like so fucking important. How would you deal with when those straight guys would make fun of you?
That was some of the hardest shit. So like I have a very vivid memory. So I had a lot of teachers. I went to a huge high school, by the way. Like I graduated with like 900 something kids. There were like
and there weren't any other gay kids out?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Mm-mm.
See, that surprises me because my whole high school was 400 kids and we had I don't think we had any gay guys out. I think we had like a bisexual girl and then we had a couple lesbians. I don't think we had any gay guys out that I knew about, which I would have known about. But we had at least a couple lesbians out.
Really?
Yes, and actually, when you were saying about the kid that went back and apologized to you, I would like to find one of them online and say the same thing to them. This girl, because I
You should
remember
do it.
I have no fucking idea. This is the only descriptor for her I have. Okay, she was really tall, she was really overweight, and she always used to wear fake fairy wings. She was really gothic, and so I don't know how to go back and be like, who
This
was
is how
that?
we find her. It's called a yearbook.
Oh, that's fuck. You're
We got
good.
We
You
got it.
are good.
We
Yeah,
got it.
that's true. I should go back and do it and find her, because I would see her in the halls holding hands with her girlfriend. And I used to say to my friend, I go, why she gotta do that? Man, man, man. So I should go back and like find her and like say, thank you. I was scared of you.
Yeah, make a point too. When that happened to me, it was like I think it was a powerful thing for both of us.
Yes.
You should do it. Plus, I think, dude, the first time you and I talked on the phone, I had this immediate like gay comedian. We were just
Totally.
like, yes.
Totally.
And like when you vibe with people like that, it's just so fucking cool. So I can only imagine what she would feel to know that you actually,
I've thought about her for years. Oh,
dude, you got to do it.
You know, one time I thought yes with you was when I was looking at your Instagram with musical tastes and some of the quote, and then it peaked with Freak a Leak. I was like, I love Freak a Leak. I
Oh.
listen to that song all the fucking time still to this
Dude.
day.
Oh my God. So when Morgan and I met, it was like we were both kind of like, I'm into this. And then we realized each other's music taste, and we were like, oh, I'm fucking into this. And that when it was over, and it was all that. It was like Freak a Leak, Lil Jon. What sealed the deal is when we played, this one's for North Carolina.
Yeah.
Come on and raise
Yep.
up. Petey Pablo.
Yes.
It was in.
I can never find women that like, because I'm like, look, I like Petey Pablo, Danity Kane. I like pop music. That's what I like. But they usually like I don't know, whatever the hell else there is. And so it's hard to find people to like connect with about that stuff. But that is the music that makes you happy.
Okay.
Makes me happy.
If you need to get booked in Seattle like ASAP first
We'll
of
go
all.
clubbing.
And, dude, I'm gonna take you to this place. It's called Grimm's, and
Ooh.
Morgan and I go out of our way to like either have it be the rest of our night or end our night at Grimm's, because it's all that.
Really?
Like all that. It's like Lil Jon, Yin Yang Twins.
Love
like,
the Yin Yang Twins.
Oh, same. Have you ever heard the song "Get Fucked Up" by Icons? It's like super
the one Get Fucked
specific.
Up, Stay Fucked Up.
Go to the club in a navigator truck.
Yeah, of course. We used to listen to that. Oh, absolutely. And then I
Yeah.
used to like Chingy, Houston. Remember the rapper Houston? Houston, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure he gouged his eyes out. Which, because I follow up on all these guys. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened to this guy? What happened to Mike Jones? What happened to Chingy? Where did they go? What was it? Who are the people that sang Presidential George Bush? What's the other song? It wasn't, what the fuck was it? I'm forgetting their names. Was it no, I think it was the Yin Yang Twins. Actually, I was trying to find.
Are you talking about throw some D's on that bitch? Oh,
no. I was trying to figure out what song that wasn't their hit song. I'll figure it out. I'll send it to you. But I'm always like, what happened to these people? Where did they go?
Where?
So you go finish high school, then you get to college, and then was it like surrounded by gay people?
Nope.
Damn it.
I know.
Party of one.
So I had an opportunity to, and I turned it down. So I was accepted to Michigan State University and Central Michigan University, which are they're both bigger colleges in Michigan, but very different. So Michigan State is like, had I chose Michigan State, by the way, I'd be like in the same circle as Tyler Oakley. Like he was there at the same time that I was at Central. Yeah, we never crossed paths, but we definitely had the same, like we were 1 degree of separation because we were both like Michigan college gays together. So had I chose Michigan State, I guarantee we would have vibed. Or maybe
he's cute. Did you know about him when you were in school?
So he started to pop my like junior year. So that's when I was like, I think I know this kid from like Facebook pictures or whatever, or MySpace, because he was in all these other people's pictures who I did actually was friends with.
Right.
But I chose Central because I went on a tour of both schools. And if I went to Michigan State, I had to live in a dorm that was just a box and it had communal bathrooms.
Yep.
But if I went to Central, it was a living room, 2 separate bedrooms, and you had your own bathroom in there. And I was like, I'm not living in squalor. So, right. So I chose Central. Downside is it's in the middle of a cornfield. Yeah, not many gays. Definitely got my rocks off with the ones that I could find.
Right.
But I got so close with these like straight bros
Really?
on my floor. So my roommates and the guys across the hall, like I've been to all their weddings. Like we're still really close, and we became like very, very good friends. And then I rushed a frat.
Really? Good for you. That's
And
great.
I was out too. So I
Good
was
for
like,
you.
yeah,
People are
thank you.
people.
Thank you.
What
thank
was
you,
the
thank you.
frat?
Phi Kappa Tau by Minimina membership is conferred upon me a marked distinction in which I take just pride. Yep.
What'd you have to do to rush it?
Some crazy shit.
I don't know anyone that's been in a frat. I know quite a few sorority people, but this is the thing. It's a fucking community. It's a community, and not all frats are the same, and some of them do some stuff, and some of them do other stuff, and it's just like a way to have friends when you're at a really big school.
Mm-hmm. And it was fun. It was really fun. But like my whole college experience was predominantly with straight men. Mm-hmm.
What would you do when they would have like the frat parties? Like, and they were like, because I'm sure they'd be like, oh, we got girls from this school coming and girls from that school coming. Would you be like, sweet, and that would be the end of it?
I would go, and some of them hated it or loved it because I'd show up at the party, and most of them were themed. They're frat parties, and my
shut it down.
My ensemble was
right,
tippity top notch, and all the sorority girls would just like latch, and then they would find out that I'm gay, aka hear me talk,
right,
and it was just game over. They're like, oh my god. So then I was like, okay, this is fun.
Most of my friends in college were straight too. I had like a whole bunch of straight girl friends, and I remember
in college.
I came out pretty quick, but I had a few lesbian friends, but like most of them were straight girls. And I had a girlfriend who was like, you know, I would think that you would have more lesbian friends. And then my friends that were straight girls, she would be like, just like, they would usually be like really like cute, like straight girls, or not even cute. Like, I mean, they would be cute, but they would just be like, I guess it wasn't what she would think that I would be friends with. And then she was like, oh, I know why you're friends with them. She's like, because you like to talk. And I was like, yes, we talk. So it would be like, and this happened, and this happened. So I noticed straight women were more inclined, straight women or gay men would be more inclined to want to like talk. And lesbians I didn't know as many lesbians that like to talk shit. So, or just talk. I was like, I'm not, like I had a friend, Amber, who was like really into makeup, and like they all had boyfriends at like BU or BC. But we like to fucking shoot the shit.
Where'd you go to school?
Simmons, all women's college in Boston. So there was like a lot of, it was a very gay, but that's why I really respect when people come out in an environment that's not as cushy as the one that I had, because mine was really, really quite cushy. When did your parents start to, I'm guessing they're more comfortable with it now?
Oh yeah, totally. They're obsessed with Morgan. Like I think they love him more than me. It's true.
My mom always likes my girlfriends more than me. It's like a thing.
Oh, Fran did not.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, she when I first started to date, it would be she did not hold back her 2 cents if she didn't like them. A couple of them she's really liked. Morgan she's obsessed with though. But yeah, she would not hold back. I remember one of the first guys that I ever brought home, she was a little colder. And then when he left, she was like, no.
What did she not like about him?
You know, I think he was a little bit younger than me. I was in college. He was in high school. And there was just, she like didn't want me to play the role of sugar daddy yet.
Totally.
Right. So, I mean, like she was justified or whatever. But that I think, honest to God, me starting to date sort of made my mom and I's relationship a little bit better because she treats my boyfriends the same way she would treat my girlfriends.
That's
if I was
great.
Straight. Yeah. Like
that's great.
If she hated you, she was a nasty bitch, no doubt. But if she's into it, you're fucking in. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
What was your first date like what was your first date ever, and what was your first date like with Morgan?
Okay. I don't remember my first date ever. I remember my first bad date ever. I met this guy on the Grinder,
Yes. When did Grindr come
and
out? When did Grindr? When was that?
I don't know, but I was late to the game. I
Really?
must have downloaded it for the first time in like 2000, 10,
See,
and
I didn't hear about Grindr till like 5 years ago, if that.
what?
Yeah, I didn't I didn't know about it. I
Oh
mean,
my god! I mean, it serves you no purpose. So
and I guess I was like missing, like when guys would say, "Oh, we do online dating," I wasn't putting that together, I guess. So I didn't know about Grindr like specifically until
do
like
you have a
more recently.
lesbian one?
No.
If you should like patent it and call it Scissor.
The-
Is that too much? I think it's good. Like Grinders,
I
it
think they've
works.
tried to create them.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that there was one. It was called like Girl, which I could see being like real touchy. But there's the one I've done Tinder, Craigslist. If I'm being honest,
Mhm.
Tinder, Craigslist, and then the one for like entertainment people, quote unquote. I did
Have-
that.
Tell me about that one because I didn't find
Great.
about that one until like honestly, Mateo talked about it on your podcast, and
You're not
yeah, what
missing
is it?
anything because you're in a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not missing anything. It's interesting. I mean, here's the deal. This is the biggest scandal of this thing. You cannot screen grab. So if you screen grab someone, and I know this because I did it a couple times. So it's an app where it's like supposed to be kind of like secretive, and if you talk about it too much, they like kick you out of it. But also, it's like $10 a month. It's not like you have to like give an arm and a leg to be in it. But if you screen grab, I remember seeing someone. I'm not going to say their name, but it rhymes with him. You know what I'm saying? She's out. I'm not outing anybody. Raven.
Gotcha.
I see her. I went, oh shit. I'm so bad at that game. I go, oh shit. Click, click. The second you screen grab someone, you get like literally click, click, bup, bup, right all through my phone. It said, if you do that again, you're going to get kicked out of Raya. I didn't even know technology could detect and move that fast because it was like, click, boom, don't do that again, Emma. And then I'm thinking that like it was so fast that when I clicked it, the picture had, you can't do that again over the girl's face. And then I kind of forgot about that. And I was swiping around again like a while later and I saw someone else where I was like, what? Click, click. So I almost got kicked off it. So that is like a cool thing though. If you see somebody, they're keeping it on the DL. Like you can't click, click.
That's pretty great. They should do that in Grinder, actually.
They should.
Yeah.
So did
all
you
these
meet him on?
portals.
Oh, did you meet him on Grindr? Or was it before
Well,
Grindr?
well, this was my first.
Oh, first
like,
date, first
my
date,
first
first date. Thank you.
first bad date. So
Okay.
I met this guy on the grind, and I remember we like had a date set up to like go out to eat or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I'm running really late. Would you mind just coming to my house?" And okay, seriously, if I am nothing if I'm not oblivious. Okay. So I was like, "Oh my god, sure, I'll come to your house." So I went to his house, and I remember like when I got up to his front door was like cracked just a little bit, and I like was texting him and he wasn't answering, and then I was like, "Hello, hello," and I can't make this shit up. I opened the door and I like took like 2 or 3 steps in there, and I turned and I looked into his dining room, and at his dining room there were 6 seats, 1 open seat, and all 5 of the others had mannequins that were fully dressed with utensils and like food on the table.
Serial killer.
And I saw that and I was like, I'm fucking gone, and ran back to my, and he lived in like a little cul-de-sac. It was like the only house like in like the same distance of what 6 houses would be. So I was like, oh, here's the thing. No,
No.
I'm not dying today. Went back to my car, blocked the hell out of him, never heard from him again.
I'll tell you this. I've watched a lot of true crime. That is fucking. Was he saying anything like when you were in there? Was he like, just keep coming, come on down keep coming in? Just silence.
I wish he did, but he did not. No, no, it was just, I was like, hello. It is a scary movie. Like when I play it back in my head, a lot of people don't believe this except for my friends because I was always smart. I'd give them the address.
Right.
And say,
I believe going to do that, especially when you first start dating, especially if you had good chemistry on the thing, then you're like excited to see the person. But you would think if he just wanted to have sex, he would have just said, let's have sex. but clearly, but the mannequins. What do you think he was like in fashion or something? Maybe.
No, they were like dining. They were, and they had like busted ass wigs and shit. And I was just like, no, 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 no. And I think a couple of them like didn't have all their appendages and shit. Like, I don't know. It was just, I was like, here's the thing. No, 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 no. I don't want to know why. I don't want to know how
Right.
you got them. I don't want to know why they're there.
Right.
I just
It's
want to
like
get
they were his
home.
friends or something.
Yes. So then I just hightail it out. And that was the worst date that I actually never went on.
You would think if he had any plan of not like slaughterhouse fiving you, he would say, just as a heads up, I'm doing a costume party. I keep the mannequins at the table because it's easier to seat them there. I don't want you to think that I like to have an audience when I'm going to chop your head off.
Exactly. So I learned my lesson.
Wow.
And yeah, and I got real good at it. So from that moment on, I got very like here's the thing. If you're gonna start engaging with me on any of these apps, like be ready for me to put you through it for weeks before I get
Really?
you. Yeah. So then like
Good
years
for you.
later, Morgan and I met. We met on Tinder actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he was studying at the University of Michigan and I lived in the Detroit area, so we like matched. Started chatting, everything was going great. We had a first date set up and then I threw my back out at work because dealing with little
Fuck.
kids, like up, down, right?
Is it because you have to pick them up or just like,
Well, you're constantly like,
leaning to talk to them?
yeah, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
and
I didn't even think of that.
I'm 6'3". So for me to like
Really?
chat to a kid, it's like, hello.
I didn't realize you were that tall because I guess usually when I see your videos, it'll be like from
Titties
on
up.
or that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you
How
got to
tall
get
are
down
you?
to. I'm short, man. I'm 5'3".
Oh, I can't wait to get a picture together.
Please, and because also that's like so if I talk to a kid, it's like not a big. I don't have to travel far. You know what I
You look them
mean?
in the eye.
Look them in the eye. I'm like, good
Right.
to see you. When you get older, don't stop petting me in the head. But you have to
Yeah.
go. That makes sense. You threw your back out.
I threw my back out like bad too. Like so bad that I left work to go to the ER to like get some fucking pills or shots or whatever.
Fuck.
So then I texted him like, I'm not gonna make it tonight. And I also was like, this seems so fake. So I sent
Right.
him a
I
picture.
threw my back out.
Yeah, well, I sent him a picture of my like hospital wristband, like in my gown, like be like, this is for real. Like I threw my fucking back out. And then he was like, okay, cool. Now I'd already put him through probably like 2 or 3 weeks of chatting.
Right.
And
Phone talking as well.
no phone talking.
Mm.
No phone talking. I was very much a like chatter texter, and I didn't want to talk on the phone. I don't know why.
Talking on the phone is intimidating if it's like you're like dating thing, and then it's like a lot.
You know, and I always it took me a while to actually be okay with my gayness. So I think
which is interesting since you came out since you were out so young.
Yeah, but also like I think about like where I grew up and then what I did in college with the frat and all that. I think I was just like, oh, no guy is gonna like me because I'm this gay. So then like talking on the phone, I'd be like, well, I'd rather hear me talk for the first time when we're in person, so you can't get out of it. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna see my personality regardless, motherfucker. So then the next like however many days he agreed, we went on a date. We went out for pizza. It was fantastic. It went really well. Mariah Carey Fantasy came on and he
was meant to
he knew every word. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. So then I was like, do you want to grab a coffee really quick? And he's like, sure. So we went and we got a coffee afterwards. And this song came on and it was Me and Mr. Jones. And I said, I love Adele. And he goes,
wait. Were you joking?
No.
Really?
No, I don't know. Okay, here's the thing is I love Amy Winehouse. I don't know why I said that. I don't know how I didn't like think about it before.
This is what it was. You were maybe you were flustered because of the date.
And off my meds.
And off the meds.
There you go.
Yeah. Off the meds. Had you just gone off your meds?
No, I probably hadn't taken them for a good minute at this point.
But still enough of a window that you can kind of like put things on that. Be like, I'm off my meds. But you can't say you're off your meds on a date, though. That's a red flag. You can't be like, I fucked up my thoughts because I'm off my meds. I don't even know where I am right now. Like, that's not good. Right.
So I said that, and then it like got a little bit like fucking dicey because I'm going to think, I think I was like, oh, now he's going to think that I don't really like music, but I do like music. So now I
Right.
got to prove myself a little bit. So I got really, really nervous. And in his brain, it's like still going very well. Well, then like the date ends and we're on the street and I didn't know what to do. And I like sort of panicked because I was like, do I kiss you? Do I
Right.
give you a hug? Like, what do I do? So I looked him in the face and I said, I would like to see you again. And he said, okay. And I said, okay. And I turned around and left. That was it.
I could so see myself doing something like that.
Seriously?
Totally. Oh, 100%. Totally. Like, just absolutely. Like, I've absolutely 100%. Like, all of a sudden getting like really like froze up and serious and being like, yeah, let's see each other again. Gotta go, bye, and just booking it. Totally.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hang around in case they have any. You don't want to hear the answer.
Right.
Gotta go.
I didn't want to hear the answer, and I'm not a first date kisser, but I'll make out with you on the dance floor, super fucked up, like that type of thing. Like that's me. But I'm not a first date kisser. So then I was like, I don't know what the fuck he wants. I don't really even know what I want. And then I just left, and then like it was like this awkward in limbo, and I was flipping the fuck out. And then
After how long? Like, how much time had gone by for you to be flipping out?
I might have heard from him like a day or 2 days later, and
So pretty normal.
I spiral, so
Yeah.
I was spiraling the whole time.
Totally. Because it's like you want the person to be texting you, like, I had so much fun. But then if they actually do that, you might be like, oh, God, this is too much.
Oh, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm that, like, I loved the chase. Like,
Yes,
I hope
totally.
he doesn't get into it too fast. because
Totally.
then I'm not going to want it. And
Right.
he didn't. And we both, now we say to each other that it took us probably like 3 or 4 dates to actually be like, this is yes. Because we're both kind of like, he's great. Okay. And then he responded and he wanted another date, and we did, and then things got better. But I was an embarrassing mess. Oh, and the other thing too is like Morgan's like fucking sexy. Like
Hell
really,
yeah.
he's like so sexy. So when I was on these dates, I'm gonna bring up a picture of him for you.
Please.
When we were on these dates, I was like, oh my God, he's like so hot, and like he's like a 10, and I'm like I don't even know what number. So what do we do? And so I was constantly in my head with him. Right. So and then it just kind of like worked out. So this picture is
Also, I can guarantee he wasn't thinking anything about you saying that you love Adele, but how much were you fixating on it? Were you like, this is why he's not texting me back?
couldn't drop it. I'm like, he thinks I'm a liar. He thinks I was just saying that to be cool, blah, blah, blah. This is Mo.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
I am in no way surprised. Let me make that explicitly clear. This is just an acknowledgement of him being very good looking.
Yeah, it's fucking
good
wild,
for
man.
you.
So listen to this shit though. So remember I told you we had that little break when I wanted to live in Chicago. He went to Europe, right? To do like an eat, pray, love situation. And he downloaded Tinder again, and he was there for like 3 weeks, right? And he got
told you he was going to download Tinder?
No.
Oh.
I didn't find this out for years after this.
Thank God, because imagine you knew that he was in Europe with Tinder.
I would have died. would have been out the fucking window.
Right. Gotta go. Yeah.
Yep. So he then got a call like maybe a few months later from Vogue, and they do this thing every year, which is most swiped yes person on Tinder by country.
No.
He was like Europe. He's like, I'm American. Like I was just there for a little bit of time. And when I found that out, I was like, oh yeah. It happened. Hilarious. He hates when I tell that story, but it's true.
Did he tell you it, or did you have to find out from reading it?
Oh, it came up, Emma. It came up like so nonchalantly to the point where now vocalizing this out loud, I think he accidentally just sort of like let it.
Well, because also, how's he supposed to tell you? Because that's like the kind of thing, like when you're in a relationship, say you get hit on or something, and you tell your partner about it. It's always, you're always like, well, why is this? I was with someone that always used to tell me if people gave her attention, and I didn't really care, but I'd be like, all right, why is she saying that? So he probably didn't want to seem like he's telling you to make you jealous, but then it's all, so that's like, it's a tricky dance.
Probably. And I don't hate him not telling me.
But I would have told a motherfucker right away.
Well, I see, and then he told me, and then he thought my reaction was going to be like bad, and I was like, "Can I tell everybody? Can I put this on my
yeah.
podcast? This is amazing."
Totally. Like that's my new credit. I would have
Right.
told, like I had a cousin that went to Harvard and I bringing it up right now because I got to bring it up every hour, like things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I know fucking something.
That's it, and that's the thing too. So then after that happened, we started this little, I guess you could say it's an inside joke. It's what we say to each other. Whenever he like cracks a joke and like gets people to laugh, I turn to him and I'm like, okay, you can't have it both. I'm the funny one.
Right. I'm
Okay?
the funny
Yeah.
one. I'm the
I'll
funny
be the-
one, Mr. Tinder.
Yeah, how about that? So yep, it's facts.
How was it when you what were you doing when you found out you were going to be on Ellen?
I had just gotten home from work when they called. So it was, that's a long process.
I can
It's a long-
imagine.
Yeah. So
Well,
they,
I actually wouldn't imagine. I actually know nothing about it actually, but I would imagine they'd want to kind of suss you out.
you've done late night before, right?
Yes, and that's a long. That was a long process. Yes.
I imagine you're gonna find parallels here. So
Mhm.
they found my video, and then they did a phone call, a Skype, and then like two more.
Were you expecting the phone call? Like, were you like, this can't be real?
Do you believe that if you put shit out into the world that it actually does happen?
Let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
Where's my book? I got a fucking. Here it is. I got a book. I mean, I've read The Secret a bunch, but this book, it's called Future Board. Now, and it's
I'm
all about
literally
that.
buying it as soon as we're done here.
Yeah,
I'm going on
it's
Amazon.
first of all, it's so good because I don't know if it's like a pot shot, but in the beginning, it's about vision boards, obviously. But in the beginning, she's like, some people call future boards vision boards, but I don't call them vision boards because it's not a vision. You're actually making your future, like with my program. And I was like, ooh, shots fired. And yet I just like reading anything. It's about like manifesting your spiritual destiny, which is, I believe in it 100%. And I get scared by it because sometimes I think negative things and I get scared I'm going to manifest them.
Right.
So I get scared about that.
So I believed that
But I believe it.
forever. I believe it. I was a stand-up comedian for my third grade talent show. Like,
really?
yes, they asked me
Interesting.
when I made my fifth grade graduation. They asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A stand-up comedian." Like, yeah.
Wow.
So I truly, truly believe it. So then I really believed it. So I was on a
Right.
family vacation.
It's almost like you knew this was going to happen. You're like, yes,
Knew.
yeah, it already happened in my brain. And now I'm walking into the moment that I created.
And here we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
So I'm on a family vacation. It's a family reunion. We're at Disney World. I'm with Morgan. We wanted to like dip out and go somewhere we could have some drinks.
Right.
We go on the Finding Nemo ride. Who Dory the fish is Ellen DeGeneres.
Right.
And we get off, and I turned to him and I was like, "Wouldn't that be so crazy if like Ellen called me to be on the show?" I shit you not. Within the hour, I got the phone call. Within the hour.
And
Yeah.
someone, were you like, oh my God.
I was like, well, for the first things I said, I was like, "Can you prove that this is real?"
Right.
And
right.
they did. And I was like, wow. And then we did our first phone call that night in the hotel room. And then all of my Skypes were in while I was at Disney World. So I had to like, when we went to a park with the family, I remember for one of the Skypes, I had to go to the customer service and I was like, "Can I use a room at this time? It's so important."
Right.
And I used a milking room.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was in there and I was like, okay.
You got to do what you got to do to make it happen and still be able to be a member of your freaking family.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? That's juggling. So she
Yeah.
puts you through, so you go through all the steps. And then was it like 4 months later, 5 months later?
Well, they start asking me everything about it, about my life, but just about things I do. And I'm like telling them like, this wasn't an accident. Like, I'm a comedian. Like I do
Right.
this.
And they probably wanted to make sure that they were like also then like real kids and you're not an actor. And like, this is like actually a legit, because you being a real teacher is like an important part of that.
Yes. So it was probably 4 or 5 weeks. I think it was probably 4 weeks later they called, and I hadn't heard from them in like a week, and they were like, "You're coming to the show tomorrow.
Woo!
That you're on this flight, blah, 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 blah." So I did it. And then again, putting shit out into the world. When I got there, they were like, "Yo, like, no shade. We know you're a comic, but we're painting this picture of like wholesome teacher
Right.
who did this funny thing. So
Right,
it's
right,
not your
right.
last comic standing
Right.
audition. Like, don't try it. And I was like, yeah, no. Because here's the thing. I'm just going to be myself and that's going to
Right.
work.
Right.
And then they to say, don't be upset if Ellen like leaves you there because she's got just a lot going on. It's like no disrespect. She's got a lot to do. First commercial break, cameras turn off. I'm expecting her to get up and leave. She turns to me and she goes, hey, I heard you're a comedian. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, you're really funny. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she goes, no, you're really funny. You should do something with that. And I was like, and then the cameras came back on and we never got that moment again. But she didn't even know I was already working on my hour. I was almost done with it. So for the after being on the show for the next 8 months, I hit the pavement the hardest I
Right.
possibly could to get my hour done. And then I still didn't have any representation or anything like that. So I was just like calling clubs. And I was like, here's me. Can I do my hour? And it was just like, sure, you can do like your hour on a Monday night
Right.
in this city,
And
whatever.
had the Ellen show aired yet?
It had. So that helped.
Yes, because you're like, I got this big credit. That must have been so uncanny too, because you didn't think she was going to stay in between. So it's like, oh, I get a breather. And then you're like locking eyes with like greatness.
Lost my shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Comedic greatness being like, that's crazy.
Couldn't even believe it. So then I was just like, okay. And I just built on it and built on it. And then it happened. But the thing is a lot of the clubs and a lot of the places weren't taking me serious at this time because they thought they're like, oh, viral person who does videos on the internet. You're just like one of those, like, we do real comedians. I'm like, hey, I'm a fucking real comedian.
And people used to be very mean to that. I feel like the tide, I wonder if Corona is going to change that tide, because now people who have now stand-up taken away, making funny videos. You have to be funny to do that. It's hard. You have to have timing and editing and writing and all that stuff. Like it's hard. Like even just the editing, and you do quick cuts to get the timing of stuff. It's not an easy, like if it was easy, then every single person who ever wanted to have an audience or whatever would also be doing it. So I think that will be getting more respect. It's especially when it first came. I mean, no, people were shitting on TikTok when it first came out too, though.
And look, how all of them are on it right now.
Right, absolutely.
People are shitting on going live and all that, and I'm just
Right.
like, okay. But
Right.
and that's the thing, that was kind of cool, because once all this Corona stuff happened, I already had it in my back pocket. I already knew how to do it because I had done it. So I just whipped it out again and just kept going. It was
Totally.
crazy, right?
And then you went on Ellen again.
Went on again. And same thing. They were just going to paint me as a teacher. They just wanted to touch base. And she was so cool to me.
That's awesome.
It was a literal out of body dream.
When they brought out the kids, I watched the second one this morning, when they brought out the kids and they pranked you. I was scared because I feel like I would be like, oh God, what if he knows it's not his kids, but then he's thinking that they think it is his kids. So then he's got to pretend it's his kids. So it doesn't. So I was relieved when it was clear because that would have been fucking nerve wracking, because I wouldn't have known if I would have want to blow up their spot and be like, you brought in the wrong kids.
So that is sort of what was going through my head. So they were like, your kids are here. And I was so excited because my kids were so excited to be part of the video. Like, they really loved that I was going on Ellen, and they like were so happy to see me all over the TV everywhere. They were just freaking out. And I was like, holy shit, they brought my kids. Like, this is so amazing for them.
Right.
And I turned, and the minute that little door opened, I knew the millisecond I saw the first kid, I'm like, that's not my kid.
Right.
But what was going on in my head was, is this some sort of like Hollywood fuckery where I'm supposed to pretend these are my students and we're going to make the world think that this show's so great that you did bring my kids? So
100% what I was worried about would be happening, because I could see thinking that, where I'm like, that was literally the first thing when she was like, we're going to play a prank on him and bring out kids that aren't his kids. I was like, what if he thinks that you guys just are like pretending, and then if he blows up and says, oh, Ellen didn't send in my real kids, you are like, it's like, you fucking idiot, like you gotta play along, like, because that could easily, I could see in some situations that you gotta pretend something, and then you're like, oh yeah. So that my stress went like, whoop!
Right. That's why I looked at her and I kind of said, like, do they know? like, can I fuck around here? And then she was just like, yeah, they already know they're not your kids.
Right,
Blah, blah, blah. I
yeah,
was like, oh my God. But because I didn't, I was like, when they said we want you, we're portraying you as this wholesome, blah, blah,
right,
blah teacher, I was like, oh shit, like, should I go to church after this
right,
now? Like what
right.
the, like, you know what I mean? So I was scared I was gonna blow it for them. Plus they had already did all this cool shit for me, so I didn't
Right.
want to like give bad juju.
Totally. You were
Mhm.
picking out the ages of the kids quick though. You're like, you're in kindergarten, you're in this, you're in that. So that was like,
Oh.
you're like, I know how to fucking suss these people out.
Exactly.
I want to thank you so much for being on my show and tell me, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find I'm everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm at Mr. D times 3. My website is www.mrdtimes3.com. As soon as Miss Rona gets out, I'm back on tour. I got about 30 cities that I'm coming to for the rest
Whoop,
of
whoop.
2020, if I can. So fingers crossed. You can listen to my podcast, Social Studies. I'm all over the place. Can't miss me. Thanks for
What's your,
having me,
of
Emma.
course, what's your favorite medium? Do you have a favorite one?
Long Island.
The, do you have,
Long Island Medium.
forgot-
Sorry, I had
that's
to.
a good one. Is it you, the one and only? Do you have a favorite? Is like Instagram? Do you prefer Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube?
Dude, you're not gonna believe this. Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, like Instagram's cool, like TikTok's really fun, but like Facebook's a little bit where it's at.
Facebook's great.
Yeah, like I feel like my fans there are so much more like connected.
Yeah,
And I
there's
started
more
doing
going
characters
on.
now.
Really?
I started doing, I'm not a character actor, I'm not a character comedian, but I used Corona to kind of get like get uncomfortable. So it's a little
Good
bit
for
of a
you.
challenge. And I started doing characters live on Facebook, and I host trivia as these characters. And my fans are like, holy shit, like what do we do? And I'm like, it's kind of cool. I don't know. I'm having fun. I should get a tattoo that said, let's have fun. I swear to God.
Is it pop culture trivia?
It's anything trivia. So last week was famous families. Then we had a white trash bash. Like,
Great.
yeah,
That's
it's really
awesome.
fun.
Well,
Mhm.
thank you very much, Joe. I'm going to put, oh, wait, I have one quick question. Do people say Dombrowski wrong? Is that why you had Mr. D? Were people mispronouncing Dombrowski?
Butchered it. And the
Yeah.
other thing too is I always on stage as a comedian up until Ellen, I went as Joey D. Everyone calls me Joey
Really?
D. My whole life, friends, family, all my comedy friends from Detroit who I started with, they all are like Joey D, Joey D, Joey D. I was always
Really?
introduced as Joey D, everything. And then I went on the show and she called me Joe Dumbada. She butchered it. But it's okay. I love you.
Of
if
course,
you're
of course,
listening. Of course. But then I was Joe Dombrowski from like forever. So like I don't know, I still feel like Joey D, but like people call me Joe Dombrowski. You can call me
Joey D, I picture like a real, like Joey
a
D.
muscle, yeah.
Yeah,
But I kind of like the dichotomy of the fact that
totally.
I'm not.
You're like, I'm Joey D, actually.
Right.
Well,
Right.
thank you, Joey D.